Hey there, Sean Terry here, Flip2Freedom.com, and I have a question for you. You want to get involved in real estate, but you don't have any money, and you're wondering, how can you participate in real estate when you don't have any money? You don't have any money for a down payment, you don't have any money for maybe marketing, you don't have any money for buying a rental property, and wondering, I want to get involved, and I see everybody doing this stuff, but I don't have any money. Well, in this short video, I'm going to show you 3 stealth funding strategies that you can use, whether you have any cash or any credit whatsoever. You can get involved in real estate and you can start generating income right away in the next 30 days or less. So, when I first got started in real estate, I had the same preconceived notion. I thought you had to have big down payments to qualify for a loan, come in with 20%, buy a property and fix it. You see all these TV shows like Flip or Flop, and they put all this money down, they buy this house, they put $150,000 in a property, make it look beautiful, and turn around and sell it. The issue is, when I first started, I didn't have the $150,000 to put down or the wherewithal to buy the property. And I didn't have the education to do it. So, and it came to buying rental properties. I didn't have that either. I didn't know how to come up with the 20% and deal with all that, maybe renovations, what if it was vacant, had to pay that. I didn't have that. So I thought I was out of the real estate game. So what happened was I was going to an appointment on a Saturday afternoon. I actually sold pools and landscaping. So on a Saturday afternoon, I was driving to an appointment, driving down the freeway, and to go bid this pool and landscape job. And I was sitting there just back in 2003. I was flipping through the radio stations trying to find something to listen to, like some sports station or something. The problem was it was in May and there was really nothing to listen to. So I'm flipping through the stations and I hit channel 1510 KFNN, which is a financial news radio network here in Phoenix. And the guy was on the radio, started talking about how you could flip houses using no cash and credit. And I'm sitting there, he's telling about this concept and this idea. And I was like, I had this preconceived notion. I'm originally from New England. I was like, there is no way. This is a scam. You can't do that. Because I thought I knew what I knew, right? And then he had, this is what put me over the edge. He had people on the radio that were telling stories about how they made $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000. And I was like, there is no way. What a joke. You can't do that. And I actually turned the channel and continued driving down the freeway. I was like, what a scam. Can't do that. And for whatever reason, I know today it was God's intervention, I actually turned the channel back and continued to listen to what this guy had to say. And he explained a concept that I want to share with you, these 3 simple steps that you can use, 3 stealth funding strategies you can use to get involved in real estate and make money, whether you have good cash, credit, good credit, no credit, whatever it takes. So here's what we're going to talk about. All right, so let's say you have no money, right? You have no money, right, to get involved in real estate. What do you do? How can you get involved? Well, here's the thing, is that once you understand this concept and how this works, it's all going to make sense. First off, you got to understand, number 1, is that we are only looking, when we market for motivated sellers, or we're looking for motivated sellers, or we want to talk to motivated sellers, right? A lot of people say, well, I've talked to people and they all want retail. Every one of them want retail. The reason why is that 95% of the population, look at 95%, right? 95% of the population are all going to want retail. When they are ready to sell their house, they're going to call a real estate agent, a friend, they're going to find someone on Facebook and say, hey, do you have a referral? And they're going to list their house, right? And they're going to sign paperwork, they're going to put a sign in the front yard, they're going to put a lockbox on their door, they're going to clean up their house, declutterize it, make it spectacular. And they're going to have people come through and they're going to look at the house, they're going to make an offer and go through the entire process. 95% are going to want retail. Right? That's just the way it is. That's normal. But we're not looking for the 95%. We're looking for the 5%. And the 5% are distressed. Distressed, right? There we go. It's a mess. That's right. The bottom line is they're distressed. So here's the thing, is that a distressed seller could be a an investor who has a property that has a tenant in the property that trashed it, and he doesn't want to have to fix it up. It could be a fire damage property. It could be a property where the seller hasn't made payments on a mortgage, and guess what? And they're gonna lose their house. They're in a situation. It might be they haven't paid their property taxes and they're in an issue. It might be where they transferred to another state and they can't make 2 mortgage payments. That is distress. That's who we're talking to. So the bottom line is we're talking to distressed sellers and we're helping them out of their current situation. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to them and we're gonna sign a contract with them. It's incredibly important. Once we sign a contract with a distressed seller, right, that gives us what's called equitable interest. And when we have equitable interest in the property, that means we control that property. And there's only one person at a time that can control the property. The seller can't sell it to 5 different people. So now that we have equitable interest, we have the right, we can market, we can talk to other people and essentially sell our contract. So let's say theoretically we have a $100,000 house. House is worth $100,000. It could be $200,000, $300,000. The numbers are relevant. Just follow me here. So a $100,000 house, and we have a distressed seller that the house, they inherited the property. We just had a deal that came in this past weekend. Seller called us up and said on Sunday, they filled out a lead form from Google AdWords. It came in. I actually called them on Sunday and talked to them. They had a property that they inherited. They didn't want to fix it up, and they literally just want to get rid of it as fast as humanly possible. So I said, okay, we set an appointment for Monday at 3:30. My sales guy went out there, Raphael, met with the seller, got the property under contract, and actually gave them what they wanted. They wanted between $65,000 and $70,000. We gave them $67,500. And within 24 hours, we turned around, since we had a contract on the property, equitable interest, we found a buyer on one phone call. That's the market right now. Market's crazy right now. We have found a buyer on one phone call that said that he wants the property for $105,000 and can close this week. So this was Sunday, got the contract Monday, closing Friday, right? So the bottom line is, what's that, like a $37,000 profit? That's not a bad deal, right? In 7 days. So what we did was, got a property under contract for $67,500, turned around, found a buyer on one phone call for $105,000. So how much cash did I have to qualify for the loan? No. Did I have to come up with a $67,500? I'll explain that in a second. I'll show you exactly how it works. We're going to talk about the closing on that. So all I had to do is find the buyer, right, that wanted to buy the property. He's going to buy it for a rental and just hang on to it. So essentially, I got a contract with a seller for $67,500. I found a contract with a buyer for $105,000. Now what I'm going to do, here's how it works where you can get paid using none of your own cash and none of your own credit. So all I did was sign the contract. Didn't run my credit. I literally used the $10 earnest money. And I had people go, you can't use $10 in earnest money. There is no way a seller's going to accept that. Oh, really? They did, right? Because if you're talking to the 95%, of course they're not. Why? They don't need to sell. 5% of the distressed sellers, we're helping them out. Now, we're helping these guys out of the situation, and they are ecstatic. They are so happy that they get to unload this property with no hassle. They don't have to fix it up, and they got it done in a week. They're ecstatic because we're providing them a service, right? The bottom line is people go, $10 earnest money, do it all the time. The only people saying that is they've never done it before, right? They never tried. They never talked to a distressed seller. They've never done it before, so they don't know. Again, they don't know what they don't know. So here's the deal. I got a contract with a seller. I got a contract with a buyer. I bring it to a title company, a closing agent, an escrow officer, and I say, okay, we are going to close the transaction. Here's the 3 stealth funding strategies, right? Number 1, we have an assignment. Assignment. So what is an assignment? An assignment is where it's a 1-page document that you, the title company, your escrow officer, an attorney can prepare that essentially is you selling your contract for a price. So in our case, we would sell our contract for $37,000, right? That's what we'd sell our contract for, right? If you get a property under contract for $50,000 and turn around and sell it for $60,000, you'd sell your contract using an assignment, basically a 1-page form, selling your contract for $10,000. right? You have something that's incredibly important. You have control of a property. See, you can't do this in the stock market. You can't buy Apple, right? That's $50 a share. You can't buy it for $70. You can't do it. The only time you can buy it is when it was $70. If you buy Apple for $70 today, you'll get in trouble. But in real estate, you have a distressed seller that they're willing to sell and they want to get out of it and they don't want to deal with it and they don't want to fix it up. They'll sell because you're providing a service to get out of that situation. They don't have to fix it up and do all that stuff. $70,000, $60,000, whatever the number is. So you can sell your contract for the difference between you and the buyer, right? That's called an assignment. Title company, escrow officer, attorney, they'll handle the paperwork for you. See, you bring both of your contracts to a title company, escrow agent, or attorney, depending on what state you're in. Maybe you're in New York, you do an attorney. I think Atlanta's an attorney, Jersey's an attorney, New York's an attorney. New York and Chicago's an attorney. So those are attorney states, and some have escrow, and some have title companies. So the bottom line is you bring it, they facilitate all the paperwork, they facilitate all the money in the transaction. And they can create a simple assignment form for you that you can assign your contract. And the example, let's say you do it for $10,000. You get a property under contract for $50,000, you sell it for $60,000. That's a $10,000 assignment. Now, the second, right, is what's called a double escrow. Double escrow. So you're going, what the heck is a double escrow? That's what I thought, double escrow. It's called transactional funding, double escrow, back-to-back closing. Those are all the same terms for double escrow. Essentially what we're doing over here is we have a contract for $50,000, right? And that's with the seller. And now we have a contract for $60,000 with a buyer. And we bring both of those to an title company or an escrow office or whatever. We bring both of those. Now what happens is this, right? And excuse my drawing here. The bottom line is $60,000. The buyer now wires in, right? He wires in $60,000 to the title company. Because the title company's got both contracts. They wire in 60 of that. Of which $50,000 goes to the seller, right? And this is you right here. And you got a big smile on your face. Whoop. And you get $10,000. So the buyer wires in $60,000, $50,000 goes to the seller, and $10,000 goes to you. That's a double escrow. So how much money do you bring into the transaction? No money, right? On the assignment, how much money do you bring into the transaction? No money. How much money do you got in this thing, right? $10 on your contract. So you turn around, you bring a contract for buyer for 60, seller gets 50. So is the seller happy? Seller doesn't have to fix the house. They don't have to pay real estate commissions. They don't have to pay closing costs. They don't have to get an inspection report and fix all the little tiny items on there. They don't have to wait 30, 45 days for financing. They turn around and they don't have to have tons of people tramping through the house. They get to sell the property quickly because you are able to find the buyer and it's hassle-free. Boom. Title company takes care of the transaction, all the paperwork and everything, and you get the $10,000 check. Now, here's the question. This is where it gets exciting. What if you do that one time in a year? Not bad, right? One time in a year, that's an extra $10,000 raise. What would it take on your current job to get a $10,000 raise? I don't know. A lot. And what if you're just driving around and you find a boarded up house and you found a seller and just abandoned the property? You talk to the seller, you get them under contract. Maybe you talk to the neighbor gives you the number, you get them under contract. I've done this before. And turn around, you find a buyer, turn around, sell it, 10,000. You do that one time in a year. That's not bad, right? What if you do it once a month? Now we're talking $120,000 a year. You realize the average American makes $50,000, $60,000 a year. You'd be in the top 5% of all money earners if you just did one a month. Now, what if you do 10 a month? Now you go in the top 5%. Now you go in the top 1/10 of 1% of money earners, over $100,000 a month in revenue. And you're going, there's no way. I do it. I have a whole business and built around it, and that's exactly what we do. The bottom line is this: it starts by understanding the concept. Now, there's 3, right? Third one. This one's longer. IONA, transactional funding, right? The last and final one is transactional funding. The way transactional funding works is there essentially a lender that will fund your $50,000 purchase. So let's say you have a title company and they go, listen, we don't do assignments and we don't do double escrows. And your only alternative is transactional funding. So there's lenders out there, right? And these lenders, $50,000, will essentially fund the $50,000. So now you buy the property, assuming, subject to, that your buyer's already lined up and ready to go. So your buyer, he's ready to go. He's got his money ready. He's good. He wires in his $60,000. You turn around and close on that $50,000 and immediately turn around and sell it to the buyer. Well, guess what? The seller now gets the $50,000. The buyer gets the property. And you get the difference and the fee. It's like 1 to 3%. So 1 to 3% of the fees. So instead of getting $10,000, you get $7,000, but still, again, no money out of pocket. That's called transactional funding. So this is the entire process of how to go out and do it. Now you're wondering, well, how do I find the seller? How do I find the buyer? What contracts do I sign? Can I do this if I'm a real estate agent? Does it work in my market? You're probably asking all those questions. You're going, wow, I didn't know I could do this. But now you're wondering, how do I do that? Well, here's the deal, is that if you click the link below, we're actually doing a live webinar over the next couple days. And I want to invite you to attend this live webinar. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to find the seller, how to talk to the seller. We're going to talk about different marketing tactics. We're going to talk about free marketing. Let's say you don't have any money for marketing. We're going to talk about how to talk to sellers, how to find those houses out there that are vacant, that are abandoned, that sellers want to get rid of. Even talking to for sale by owners on Craigslist, exactly what to look for. We're going to talk about specifically, the marketing strategy and how to get paid in the process, right? And exactly how to find the buyers that are going to pay cash quickly for the properties and put the entire thing here. It's an amazing webinar. I've had tons of feedback. People going, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And they absolutely love it. It's going to answer all those questions. Now that you understand the concept, how's the whole process work? Step by step by step. Click the link below, register for the webinar, and we are going to basically, in the next couple of days, I'm going to be doing it live here for a short period of time until I get tired. And then you're going to be able to follow along and watch it. Now, a couple cool things. Number one is I'm going to give you what's called a cheat sheet. And this is basically a no money down cheat sheet that you can get for free for attending. Also, too, when you register on the next page, right, I'm going to give you a book I wrote. It's been downloaded a lot. 129-page book that details the entire process of this business. Incredible content. And on the next page, you're going to see a video testimonial of someone who actually got started and applied it, and their stories are absolutely amazing. So just don't take it from me. I mean, and people that have listened to this and followed, and they got out and got amazing. I mean, we've had bug guys that are, making $50,000 a year. They're now doing, just amazing success. They're actually building subdivisions now, which is amazing. The bottom line is that this is an incredible opportunity. Real estate is, we are right now in a massive, massive seller's market, meaning you learn how to get the property and find the property, buyers will flood you. We had one phone call for a guy who said, I'll take it. We're going to show you specifically how to do this in this webinar. So register below. You're not going to want to miss it.